Normally I do weapon loadouts on Friday, however update dropped, so I had to cover that and it threw off my complete schedule. So that is why I would say now let's catch back up, get back into it and start off with the Galil. And as always, we're covering the stats, the pros and the cons, and we're finishing it off with how to use the gun. So with that said, let's jump right into the first topic. However, first one quick thing guys, don't forget to check out the giveaway in the description down below, and if you want, support me by joining the membership program. So let's start off with the stats of the gun, and they're very simple. We have a $1.8 thousand price, which is the cheapest one. On the T side, the damage is 30 per body shot. You will also see on the screen a more detailed view. The armor penetration is at 77.5%. The fire rate is standard with 666 rounds. The magazine size is a lot with 35 shots and 90 shots in reserve. And then the movement speed is at 215 units per second, which is also standard. And the damage drop off, fall off is minimal, so 2% at 30 meters, which is okay. And it goes on in that direction. So now let us look at the spray. And as you can see, and that is why personally I do not recommend completely spraying with this gun unless you know how to control the recoil pattern. And if you're unsure on how to control it properly, stick to burst fire modes, especially on medium to long ranges, since you will have the most effect there. And now let us move on to the pros and the cons of the Galil. Starting off with the pros. It is highly affordable. It is something that you can really consider during force buy rounds, or when you do not have enough money to get yourself an AK and your team doesn't have enough in reserve. Yes, you won't be doing the full damage, however it is still a good gun, and maybe you shouldn't be the first one to run it, or you could be, since you could be the first one to tank the shots. Then obviously the larger magazine size, 35 rounds is a lot, therefore you can stay longer in gunfights, and you don't really need to think about reloading a lot unless you spray, because reloading will give your position away, and not doing that might be very critical in some specific rounds. And the last positive thing that I can say about this gun is it can really be a contender if you're thinking between an SMG or this gun. Really understand what position you are playing. Is it far to medium range, or are you going to be playing mostly close range? If you know you're going for those medium range combats mostly, go with the Galil, spend that extra money since it might be worth it. And now let us continue with the cons of the gun. Starting off with its weaker long range accuracy, especially when you compare it to the AK and the M4. At the end of the day, it's a budget assault rifle. There are going to be some downsides compared to the main guns, and one of those disadvantages is that the accuracy at long range is less than with the main guns. And I've mentioned this also previously, the recoil pattern on this gun, personally I don't like it. It feels more random than controlled, and that is why spraying with this gun isn't really recommended. Therefore go for burst fires maximum. And obviously for the last point, it sadly doesn't have a one-shot potential against opponents with head armor. Therefore you will need 2 shots to kill them. And now let us move on to understand how to use the Galil effectively. Starting off, when to buy this gun. So the best time to buy a Galil is during economic stressful rounds, I would say. So if you're doing a force buy, a Galil might be a gun that you really need to consider. Or if you do not have enough to get yourself a complete loadout, so with full util, armor and an AK. If you're struggling and your teammates can't drop your gun, take the Galil. It is still fine, and if 1 to maximum 2 players have a Galil on your team, it's okay, I would say. However, be aware you won't be able to do the same fire output as your teammates, so be aware which position you're going to play. Are you entry fragging, or are you the second one who is going to be training your friend? And for the next point, we have where to use it. So the best here I would say is medium range. That is where this gun excels. You can use it in close range combats, however here maybe an SMG might be a better suit for you, but as I've mentioned, really understand where you're playing, what are the distances you're going to be engaging with the enemy with, and upon that decision buy either an SMG or a Galil. And for the next point, let's master the recoil pattern, and at least for burst fire mode it starts off simple. You pull down, then you move slightly to the right, and as you saw at the beginning, move over to the left, but at that point you have entered spraying territory, and either stick to it, but most likely reset the shots so you can get that accuracy back. And for the last point is swap when possible. So a teammate dies, he has a better weapon, or you killed an enemy, pick that gun up and use it, because at the end of the day the M4 or the AK will be better. So guys, that was a guide for the Galil. I never liked it at the beginning, however I've used it more often than at the beginning. I refused to use it on the T side, and through learning I quite enjoy it at the moment if I cannot afford an AK or an AR. And yeah, let me know down in the description below, what's your take on the Galil? Do you like it or not? Let me know. And as always, don't forget to check out all of the relevant links down in the description below. And the next video in the series is finally going to be with the main guns, and I've been waiting for for this episode for a long time. So stay tuned and I will see you guys on the next one. A special thanks to my supporters, Dennis, die Katze,